Listen up, family. Y'all feel that? That weight on your chest right now? That crack in your soul where the world hit you hardest? Yeah, I see it in your eyes. Life broke you. It didn't just bend you. It shattered you like glass under a boot. Lost your job? Check. Relationship crumbled like dry dirt? Double check. Dreams buried under bills, betrayal. And that voice in your head whispering you ain't enough. I know it because I've been 15 years old, sleeping on the floor of an abandoned building in Detroit, eating out of trash cans, high school dropout with a future darker than midnight. Life didn't break me gentle. It snapped me like a twig. But here's the secret they don't tell you. When life breaks you, that's when God starts building you. Y'all hear me? Breaking ain't the end. To the blueprint. Think about it. A diamond starts as coal under pressure. An eagle hatches from a shell that cracks wide open. You're next. But you gotta stop crying over the pieces and start picking them up. I was homeless, hopeless one day. A pastor found me freezing on his porch. He didn't pity me, he challenged me. Eric, he said, if you want success as bad as you want to breathe, you'll be successful. And I did. I crawled, I choked on the dirt, but I breathed for it. 12 years to finish my bachelor's. Master's, another grind. PhD, blood, sweat, and prayers. Now, I'm standing here in PhD, in my pocket, speaking to kings and queens like you. But let me get real, life's still breaking folks every day. That diagnosis, shattered. That eviction notice, exploding. You exploding yet you like dad, while we struggling, crushed. And the enemy, he loves it. He whispers, stay down, you're broken for good. Nah, tell him to shut up. When life breaks you, you don't tape it back, you forge it stronger. Fire refines gold, pressure burns diamonds. Your scars, those are your stripes, soldier. Your pain, that's your power source. Look at me, I'm proof. I was a nobody, now I'm E.T., the hip-hop preacher. Dropping truth bombs on Nike execs, NFL stars, and you. But it wasn't luck, it was choice. When the break came, I didn't quit. I quit quitting. I swam good when the boat sank. I ran when my legs screamed stop. I prayed when doubt drowned me. And you? You got that same fire in you. It's buried in the rubble, but dig. Dig like your life depends on it, because it does. So tonight, right now, declare war on your weakness. When life breaks you, roar back. Is that all you got? Get up, grind harder, love deeper, forgive quicker. Your breakthrough's on the other side of your breakdown. You owe you that much. You owe the kid in the mirror who never gave up. You owe the God who broke you to make you unbreakable. When you want as bad as you want air, yes, then you'll rise, you'll rebuild, you'll reign. Family, life's gonna break you again. Count on it, but next time, smile. Say thank you, because that's where the real story starts. Not in the shatter, in the shine. Now go, get after it. When life breaks you, you break records. Let's go. I want you to imagine something with me real quick. Close your eyes for a second. I want you to see yourself drowning. Not in some cute little kiddie pool. No, I'm talking about deep water, miles from the shore, legs burning, lungs screaming, waves slapping you in the face every time you try to come up for air. You're tired. You're scared. Your arms feel like they're tied to cinder blocks. And in that moment, when every cell in your body is begging you to just let go, to just sink and be done with this, something inside of you shifts. You decide, I'm not dying today. You start kicking harder than you ever kicked in your life. You start swinging your arms like you're trying to punch the ocean itself. You don't care how bad it hurts. You don't care how long it takes. You just made a decision. I want to breathe bad enough that I'm willing to fight for every single gulp of air until I've reached the top. Wishing is passive. Wanting is violent. Wishing hopes somebody saves you. Wanting saves yourself. Wishing waits for the perfect moment. Wanting creates the moment. When I finally graduated with my bachelor's, 12 years later, people thought I was gonna throw a party. Nah, I went straight to the master's program, then the doctorate. Why? Because once you taste what real desire feels like, you can't go back to average. Once you've been underwater and fought your way to the surface, floating don't feel the same. You want the deep end now. You want the pressure. You want the burn, because you know what's waiting on the other side. Let me break it down like this. 120%. That's what I live by. Most people give 70, 80, maybe 90 on a good day. They save that last 20, 30% for Netflix, for excuses, for I'll do it tomorrow. But the great ones, The ones who go from homeless to history makers, they give 120. They don't have anything left. When they finish the day, they are spent, empty, drained, because they gave everything. And when you start living at 120%, something supernatural happens. Doors open that logic can't explain. Opportunities show up that your resume didn't qualify you for. Favor finds you when preparation meets desperation. I'm a living witness. I shouldn't be standing here. Statistically, I should be dead or in prison. But because I decided to want it at a level most people can't comprehend, I went from abandoned buildings to private jets, from trash cans to five-star restaurants, from dropout to doctor, not because I'm smarter, not because I'm more talented.
Yeah.
But because when it got hard, and it got real hard, I refused to tap out. I refused to float. I refused to settle for air when I could have oxygen. So here's your assignment. Tonight when you leave here, I want you to pick one area of your life that's drowning you right now. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your dream that you buried 10 years ago. Whatever it is, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to write this sentence next to it. I want this as bad as I want to breathe. And then tomorrow morning when your alarm goes off and every part of you wants to hit snooze, I want you to remember what it felt like when you couldn't breathe. Remember what it felt like when life had its foot on your neck. And then get your butt out of that bed and go fight for it like a drowning man fights for air. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Success is not for the talented. It's not for the lucky. It's not for the privileged. Success is for the person who wants it so bad. They're willing to look crazy, lose friends, miss parties, cry alone, and keep going when everybody else quits. Success is for the person who decides that average is no longer an option. I'm not up here because I'm special. I'm up here because I got tired of drowning. And once I started kicking, once I started swinging, once I started wanting it at a level that scared people, the universe had no choice but to get out of my way. So the secret to success is not a secret at all. It's a decision. Decide right now that you're done floating. Decide right now that you're done wishing. Decide right now that from this moment forward, you're gonna want it as bad as you wanna breathe. And watch how fast your life changes. When you want success as bad as you wanna breathe, then you'll be successful. Not before, not maybe, then, and only then. Now go get what's yours. Now listen to me real close. I need you to hear this in your spirit, not just your ears. Everything you want, everything you say you're praying for, everything you post about on social media with those little inspirational quotes, everything you cry about at night when nobody's watching, it's not being held back by your mama, your daddy, your ex, your boss, the government, the economy, or the color of your skin. It's being held hostage by one person and one person only, the man or woman in your mirror. You owe you, not tomorrow, not when you get the new job, not when they finally apologize. Right now, today, this second, you owe you an explanation, an apology, and an all-out war on every excuse you've ever made. See, most people live their entire lives in debt, not just financial debt, although a lot of y'all are drowning in that too, but soul debt, emotional debt, potential debt. They owe themselves greatness and keep making minimum payments with Netflix excuses, and I'll start Monday. They owe themselves discipline and keep paying with procrastination. They owe themselves healing and keep paying with toxic relationships. They owe themselves peace and keep paying with chaos because it's familiar. And the interest on that kind of debt, it's your dreams dying slow. It's your purpose suffocating. It's your children growing up watching you settle. That's the real bankruptcy. I know what it feels like to be in debt to yourself. I was the king of it. 16 years old, kicked out, homeless, dropout, stealing food to survive. That wasn't just poverty. That was me being in default on my own life. Every day I woke up in an abandoned building, I was getting another late notice from my future. Every time I chose sleep over study, every time I chose pride over asking for help, every time I chose a later over a now, I was adding another lien on my destiny. And the worst part, I was blaming everybody else for the foreclosure notice on my dreams. Or my mama didn't love me enough. Or the school system failed me. Or white people, the police that. Lies. All lies I told myself so I didn't have to face the truth. I was the problem. I was the creditor and the debtor. I was the one who signed the bad contract with myself that said average was acceptable. Then one day, freezing on a church step, hungry enough to eat my own shoe, something shifted. A preacher looked at me, really looked at me and said, "Young man, when are you going to stop lying to yourself?" That question hit harder than any fist ever could, because I knew right then that I had been robbing myself blind. I had talent in a safe I never opened. I had resilience I never used. I had a story that could change lives, but I was too busy playing victim to tell it. And in that moment, I made a vow, no more debt. From this day forward, I owe me everything. I owe me effort. I owe me honesty. I owe me sacrifice. I owe me the truth, even when it hurts. I owe me the gym at 4 a.m. I owe me the gym at 4 a.m. I owe me the nose when everybody wants a yes. I owe me the apology for every time I quit on myself. I owe me the degree. I owe me the business. I owe me the boundaries. I owe me the forgiveness I keep giving everybody else, but never give myself. And let me tell you what happens when you finally decide to pay what you owe yourself. The universe starts sending collection agents in the form of opportunity you're not ready for. Doors you used to bang on start opening themselves. People you used to chase start chasing you. Favor you used to beg for starts following you. Why? Because there's power in ownership. When you stop pointing fingers and start pointing at the mirror, you step into a level of authority over your life that nothing and nobody can take from you. But ownership is expensive. It costs you your excuses. It costs you your excuses. It costs you your comfort. It costs you relationships that were built on you staying small. It costs you the luxury of blaming somebody else. And most people aren't willing to pay that price. They'd rather stay broke in their spirit than pay the debt they owe themselves. They'd rather file emotional bankruptcy every year than sit down and do the hard work of reconciliation with their own potential. Let me make this real for somebody right now. Some of y'all are in relationships where you're giving 90 and getting 10, and you keep telling yourself, well, at least I'm loved. No, you're not loved. You're convenient. And the only reason you stay is because leaving will force you to face the fact that you owe yourself better. Some of y'all are in jobs you hate, making somebody else rich, and you keep saying, I can't leave. I got bills. No, you can't leave because you're scared to admit you owe yourself the risk of starting that business, writing that book, going back to school. Some of y'all are 50, 60, 70 pounds overweight and keep saying, this is just how I am. And now, that's how you've chosen to stay, because eating your feelings is easier than feeling your feelings. And every single one of those choices is another overdraft on the account of your potential. I need you to get mad about that. Not at me, at you. Get mad that you've been stealing from your future to pay for your present comfort. Get mad that you've been leasing a life when you were born to own. Get mad that your kids are watching you teach them how to settle. Get mad enough to do something about it. When I finally decided to pay what I owe myself, I went back and got my JET at 21. Then my bachelor's, 12 years. Then my master's. Then my PhD. I paid with sleep I didn't get. I paid with friendships I lost because I stopped partying. I paid with pride when I had to work security jobs while classmates became executives. I paid with tears when nobody showed up to my graduation but me and God. But every payment made me richer in ways money can't touch. Every payment compounded interest on my purpose. And here's the part most people miss. When you start paying what you owe yourself, you stop needing validation from other people. You stop begging for seats at tables you're supposed to own. You stop shrinking so others won't feel insecure. You stop apologizing for wanting more. Because when your account with yourself is in the black, nobody can put you in the red. So tonight, I'm serving you notice. The grace period is over. The excuse have expired. The victim card is maxed out. It's time to make a payment plan with your potential. And the first payment is honesty. Look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. I've been robbing you. I've been lying to you. I've been settling for you. But no more. From this moment forward, I owe you my best. I owe you my effort. I owe you my discipline. I owe you my courage. I owe you my boundaries. I owe you my boundaries. I owe you my healing. I owe you my dreams, no matter how long they've been on life support. Then tomorrow, when the alarm goes off, pay the first installment. Get up, Go to the gym. Open that business account. Make that phone call you've been avoiding. Have that hard conversation. Apply for the school. Delete the contacts that keep you stuck. Whatever it is you've been putting off, do it. Not because I said so, because you owe you. Because at the end of your life, nobody's going to care how much you suffer. They're not going to care who hurt you. They're not going to care they're not going to care what the economy did. The only question that's going to matter is, did you become everything you were capable of becoming? Did you pay the debt you owed to your potential? Did you leave it all on the field? I decided a long time ago that when I meet my maker, I'm not going to have any unpaid balances. I'm not bringing any unopened gifts back. I'm not leaving any talent in the grave. I'm going to be able to look him in the eye and say, I paid everything I owe myself. I squeezed every drop out of this life you gave me. And I'm telling you right now, you can do the same. But it starts with owning the fact that nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to force you to be great. Nobody's going to make you get up early, eat clean, study hard, save money, forgive, heal, or hustle. That's on you. You owe you. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for an apology that may never come. The debt is due. The bill has come. And the only acceptable form of payment is action. You owe you. Pay up that picture this. You're underwater. Not a pool, not a lake, miles out in the middle of the ocean. No boat, no life jacket, no hit jacket, no helicopter coming. Your lungs are on fire. Your legs feel like concrete. Every muscle screaming, give up. It's easier to sink. The surface looks 1,000 miles away. Darkness is closing in. And in that exact moment, when death is whispering sweet nothings in your ear, something inside of you flips. You stop negotiating with drowning. You stop wishing for a miracle. You stop crying about how you got here. You make a decision. I'm getting air or I'm dying trying. And you start kicking like a madman. You start swinging your arms like you're trying to kill the water itself. You don't care how bad it burns. You don't care how tired you are. You don't care if nobody sees it. You just decided that breathing is non-negotiable. That right there is what it feels like when you finally want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. Most people never reach that level of one. They say they want success, but they want it comfortable. They want it convenient. They want it on sale 2 for 1, no interest, 90 days, same as cash. They want success like they want dessert after dinner. Nice if it happens, but they're not crying if the restaurant runs out. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they stay broke. That's why they stay average, because average never had a fight for air. I know what average feels like. I lived it. 16 years old, kicked out the house, sleeping in abandoned buildings in Detroit, eating out of trash cans behind Coney Islands because the leftover chili fries were free. I was drowning every single day, but I wasn't fighting. I was floating. I was hoping somebody would throw me a rope. I was blaming my mom, blaming the system, blaming God, blaming everybody except the one person responsible, me. I wanted success, sure, but I wanted it casual. I wanted it when the weather was nice. I wanted it after I got high. I wanted it after I finished arguing with my baby mama. I wanted it, but I didn't want it bad. Not bad enough to change, not bad enough to hurt, not bad enough to look stupid, not bad enough to lose friends, not bad enough to cry alone at 3 a.m. studying when everybody else was sleeping. I wanted it like most of y'all want it right now, part-time. Then one day, everything changed. I'm sitting on some church steps, freezing, stomach touching my back, shoes got holes in them, and this preacher walks out. He looks at me, not with pity, but with fire. And he says 7 words that wrecked my life in the best way. Young man, how bad do you want it? Not a do you want it? Everybody wants it. Not are you willing to work? Everybody said they're willing. He asked how bad. And in that moment, I had to get honest. I didn't want it bad at all. I wanted to breathe, but I didn't want success like that. I wanted air automatically. I wanted oxygen on autopilot. I wanted lungs that worked without effort. And that's when it hit me. Success doesn't come on autopilot. Greatness doesn't show up because you're a good person. Nobody's coming to save you just because you had a hard life. If you want it, you gotta want it at the level of survival. So I made a decision that day. I decided I was done floating. I was done wishing. I was done half-stepping From that moment forward, I was going success the same way I wanted to breathe when I thought I was going to freeze to death in that abandoned building. Non-negotiable, life or death, do or die. And everything changed. I went and got my JED. Then I enrolled in college at 21 years old, surrounded by 18-year-old freshmen who thought I was the janitor. Took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree. 12 years. 12 years. People laughed. People said I was too old. People said I should just get a job at the plant. But every time I wanted to quit, I remembered that feeling of almost dying on those streets. And I asked myself, Eric, do you want this degree as bad as you wanted to breathe that night? And every time the answer was yes. So I kept going. I worked security at night, went to school during the day, slept in my car between shifts, ate $1 menus until my stomach hurt. I cried in bathroom stalls because I was so tired. I lost friends who said I was acting funny because I stopped partying. I missed birthdays, holidays, everything. But I kept kicking, I kept swinging because I wanted it bad. And let me tell you what a bad looks like when nobody's watching. A bad is studying until 4 a.m. with a flashlight because DTE cut your lights off. A body is running in the snow with plastic bags on your shoes because you can't afford new ones. Telling your girlfriend no when she wants to go out because you got a paper due. Our body is getting cussed out by your professor in front of the whole class and going back the next day like it never happened. And that's bad. That's the level most people never reach because it's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It's embarrassing, but it's also where champions are born. I need somebody to get real with me right now. Look at where you are. Look at your bank account. Look at your body. Look at your body. Look at your relationship. Look at your peace. And ask yourself on a scale of 1 to drowning, how bad do you really want it? Because if you're still hitting snooze, you don't want it bad. If you're still eating like tomorrow was promised, you don't want it bad. If you're still scrolling for 3 hours instead of building, you don't want it bad. If you're still letting people disrespect you because you're scared to be alone, you don't want it bad. Wanting it bad looks crazy to average people. Wanting it bad makes you the weird one in your family. Wanting it bad means you're willing to be misunderstood, talked about, left out, and still keep going. There's a story I tell that changed millions of lives. A young man goes to a guru and said, I want to be successful like you. The guru says, meet me at the beach tomorrow, 4 a.m. Kid shows up excited. Guru grabs him by the neck and drags him into the ocean until the water is over both their heads. Kids, fighting, panicking. Right when he's about to black out, Guru pulls him up. Kids gasping, coughing, cursing. Guru looks at him calm and says, when you want success as bad as you just wanted that breath, you'll have it. That's it. That's the whole secret. Everything else is conversation. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, pick one thing, just one. The degree, the business, the body, the relationship with God, the healing, whatever's been drowning you because you've been too scared to fight for it. Write it down. Then write this underneath. I want this as bad as I want to breathe. Tape it on your mirror. Set it as your phone wallpaper. And tomorrow, when your feet hit the floor, I want you to remember what it felt like when you couldn't breathe, when life had you underwater. Then go fight for your dream like a drowning man fights for air. Because when you get to that level, something supernatural happens. Time bends for you. Favor finds you, doors fly open. People who used to ignore you start calling. Opportunities you weren't qualified for start chasing you. Why? Because the universe respects desperation backed by discipline. God honors hunger backed by hustle. I'm standing here, PhD. Yeah. Best-selling author, speaking for Fortune 500 companies, private jets, 7-figure business, because one day I got tired of drowning and decided to fight for air. Not because I'm special, not because I'm anointed, because I wanted it bad. Bad enough to look crazy. Bad enough to lose everything temporary to gain everything eternal. So the question isn't, do you want it? Everybody wants it. The question is, how bad? And until you reach this drowning level, you keep floating through life, wondering why everybody else is winning. Stop floating. Start fighting. Want it as bad as you want to breathe. Then watch what happens. You ever notice how some people can walk through hell and come out looking like they just left a spa day? Same fire, same bullet, same betrayal, same poverty, same racism, same rejection. But one person is destroyed by it and the other person is decorated by it. The difference isn't the barrier. The difference is what they did when they hit it. One saw the barrier and stopped. The other saw the barrier and said, oh, watch me go through this, over this, around this, but I'm not staying outside of it. That's the moment you stop being a prisoner of your circumstances and start becoming a pioneer through them. I grew up in Detroit when Detroit was burning. Literally. Devil's Night, abandoned houses on fire every year. Crack vials crunching under your sneakers like fall leaves. My neighborhood looked like a war zone because in a lot of ways it was. Gangs recruiting at 12. Teachers who gave up before the bell rang. Police who treated us like suspects before we even had records. Mama working 3 jobs, still could keep the lights on. By 16, I was homeless, dropout, statistic waiting to happen. Every barrier you can name was stacked against me. Poverty, broken home, no degree, no connections, color of my skin, zip code, credit score, all of it screaming, he will never make it. And for a long time, I believed the barriers. I let them define me. I let them decide my destiny. I wore them like a prison jumpsuit I never took off. Then one day I got tired of being a professional victim. I got tired of using my pain as a permanent address. I got tired of letting yesterday's bricks build tomorrow's prison. And I made a decision. These barriers are not stopping me, they're shaping me. Every no I heard was going to teach me persistence. Every door slammed in my face was going to teach me how to build my own door. Every person who counted me out was going to become fuel for my comeback. I stopped asking the world to move the barriers and started asking God to make me unbreakable. See, barriers come in all shapes. Some are external. Racism, sexism, classism, nepotism, favoritism. All the isms that try to keep you in your lane. Some are internal. Fear, doubt, laziness, addiction, trauma, low self-worth. The voices in your head that sound exactly like your ex, your parent, your 3rd grade teacher who said you'd never be nothing. And the craziest part, the external ones are loud, but the internal ones are lethal. Because even if the world opened every door tomorrow, if you still believe you don't belong on the other side, you'll stand in the doorway and starve. I had to learn that the hard. When I finally got accepted into college at 21 years old, I walked on that campus feeling like an imposter. Everybody looked like they belonged. I looked like security. I had holes in my shoes, a $200 book bill I couldn't pay, and a GPA from high school that didn't exist because I never finished. First day of class, professor calls roll. When he gets to my name, he pauses and says, Eric Thomas, you sure you're in the right place? Whole class laughed. That was a barrier. Not just his words, but the belief those words tried to plant. You don't belong here. And for about 2 weeks, I almost agreed with it. I almost dropped out again. But something in me rose up and said, nah, this barrier is not the period at the end of my story. It's the comma before the comeback. So I did what people who break barriers do. I outworked the doubt. I sat in the front row every class. I asked questions until professors got tired of me. I stayed after class, before class, in the library until they locked the doors. I got tutors, study groups, anything I could. When financial aid fell through and I couldn't pay tuition, I worked 3 jobs, slept in my car, and still made dean's list. When people said, you're too old to be a freshman, I said, I'm too determined to stay ignorant. When they said, you talk too loud, too country, too black, I said, oh good, the world needs to hear this voice. Every barrier became a brick I used to build my own palace. And let me tell you something nobody says out loud. Breaking barriers is painful, it's lonely, it's expensive. It costs friendships, it costs comfort, it costs ego. When you decide to go where your family has never gone, you will walk alone for a season. When you decide to speak how they never spoke, dress how they never dressed, earn how they never earned. Some of them will celebrate you publicly and hate you privately. Some will call you acting brand new. Some will say you forgot where you came from. Let them talk. The same mouth that mocked David for bringing a slingshot to a giant fight is the same mouth that had to crown him king later. There are 4 kinds of people when it comes to barriers. First kind, the ones who never see the barrier because they never tried. They stay in the kiddie pool complaining about the ocean. Second kind, the ones who see the barrier and stop. They set up camp right in front of it and build a whole identity around why they can't get past it. That's their theme song. Third kind, the ones who see the barrier and try to negotiate with it. They beg it to move. They pray it away. They post about it on social media hoping likes will dismantle it. Barriers don't move for tears, they move for pressure. Fourth kind, the ones who become the ram. In the Old Testament, when they wanted to break down a walled city, they didn't sit outside crying about how thick the walls were. They built a battering ram and hit the same spot over and over and over until the wall had no choice but to crumble. That's you. You don't need the wall to like you. You don't need the wall to approve you. You need to hit it with consistency, with faith, with skill, with strategy, with prayer, with therapy, with mentors, with books, with sacrifice, until one day the wall doesn't stop you. It becomes your story. I had a wall called for 12 years to get a 4-year degree. Every semester I hit it. Financial aid denied, hit it again. Car broke down, hit it again. Professor failed me, hit it again. Mama got sick, hit it again. Friends graduated and left me behind, hit it again. 12 years of pounding the same spot. And on May 8, 2003, that wall didn't just crack, it collapsed. I walked across the stage with my daughter on my hip and tears in my eyes because I refused to let a barrier have the final word. Then I turned around and hit the next wall master's degree, hit it. PhD, hit it. Speaking of Fortune 500 company, hit it. New York Times bestseller, hit it. Private jets, hit it. Every time they said, "The people like you don't," I said, "Watch me do." Every time they built a new wall, I brought a bigger ram. And here's the secret they don't teach in school. The barrier is the way. That thing that's trying to stop you is actually the training ground God is using to strengthen you. The rejection is preparing you for the room that will respect you. The failure is teaching you resilience the victory never could. The loneliness is forcing you to hear God's voice clear. The hate is making your skin thick enough to handle the love that's coming. Don't curse the barrier. Study it. Train for it. Do it. I need somebody reading this right now who's facing a barrier that feels impossible. Maybe it's a diagnosis. Maybe it's a divorce paper. Maybe it's a pink slip. Maybe it's a child that won't speak to you. Maybe it's a dream everybody laughed at. I need you to look that barrier dead in the eye and declare war. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Right now, speak to it like God spoke to chaos. This far and no further. Then get to work, get the degree. Start the business, lose the weight, write the book, heal the trauma, rebuild the relationship. Do it scared, do it broke, do it tired, do it crying, but do it. Because on the other side of that barrier, the version of you that your ancestors prayed for. On the other side of that barrier is the legacy your children will brag about. On the other side of that barrier is the testimony that will set somebody else free. And the only thing standing between you and that other side is the decision to stop letting the barrier have power. I'm a walking testimony that barriers bold persistence. From homeless to history maker, from dropout to doctor, from nobody to somebody that Nike, Coca-Cola, and the NBA call when they need fire. Not because the barriers disappeared. They did, they just learned my name and got out of my way. So whatever your barrier is today, I want you to write it down. Then I want you to write this underneath it. You were sent to shape me, not stop me, and tomorrow when you wake up, I want you to attack it like your life depends on it. Because your destiny actually does. Barriers don't break people. Quitting does. Keep swinging. The wall is waiting to fall. I need you to lean in real close right now. Because what I'm about to drop ain't for the lukewarm, the halfway, the Sunday morning only crowd. This is for the ones who grew up with roaches in the cereal bowl, but still believe God rides shotgun in the struggle. This is for the ones who can quote Gucci Mane and the Gospel of John in the same breath and see no contradiction. This is for everybody who knows the block and the Bible, who's been counted out by the world, but counted in by the King. I'm talking that sanctified, savage energy, that holy hustle. That hip-hop preacher frequency where the kick drum hits like a heartbeat and the truth hits like an uppercut from heaven. See, most preachers preach from pulpits I can't reach because I never had the luxury of clean hands. My testimony got fingerprints teardrops, eviction notices, and bullet holes in it. I learned Jesus the same place I learned survival. On cracked concrete, under street lights in abandoned houses where the only light came from a lighter and a prayer. And what I discovered is this: God don't need perfect vessels. He needs available ones. He don't need you polished. He needs you poured out. He don't need you to sound like the deacon board. He needs you to sound like the truth, even if the truth got a little bass in its voice. I was 16, sleeping in a basement with no heat, no electricity, just a candle and a King James somebody left behind. I opened it one night, mad at God, mad at life, mad at everything, and I landed on Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. And I laughed out loud, because I'm looking around this raggedy basement thinking, God, you got the wrong address. I'm a dropout, not a prophet. I'm homeless, not holy. But the Holy Spirit whispers there, I didn't call you because you were qualified. I qualified you because I called you. That night something shifted. I realized the same mouth that could spit a 16-bar freestyle could spit scripture that sets captives free. The same pain that made me hard could make me holy. The same streets that tried to kill me became my seminary. That's the playbook. Take what the enemy used to bury you and let God use it to build you. David took a slingshot the giant laughed at and dropped Goliath with it. Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish a little boy brought and fed 5,000. God loves taking nothing and making it everything. He loves taking broken and making it breakthrough. He loves taking a hood and making it holy ground. The CEO in the penthouse needs the gospel. And if God trusts you to carry it, don't you dare dumb it down or dress it up. Just deliver it. Move 6. Stay dangerous. Comfortable Christianity is counterfeit. The same Jesus who said, love your enemies, also said he didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. There's a holy violence we've lost, a refusal to coexist with mediocrity, sin, injustice, and lukewarm living. I'm not talking physical violence, I'm talking spiritual ferocity. The kind that prays until something shifts. The kind that fasts until strongholds fall. The kind that worships until walls crumble. The kind that refuses to let the devil have the last word over your family, your finances, your future. Be the one the devil regrets messing with. Move 7. Finish strong. A lot of people start loud and end quiet. They burn bright for a season, then fade out. Not us. We don't retire from righteousness. We don't take vacations from vision. We don't coast into heaven. Paul said, I fought the good fight. I finished the race. I've kept the faith. When they lay me in the ground, I want them to say, that brother preached like heaven was real and hell was hot until his very last breath. I want my tombstone to read, he kept it 100 for the one who is 100. This is the hip-hop preacher playbook. It's not a performance. It's a proclamation. It's not a brand. It's a burden. It's not about being cool, it's about being called. And if you pick it up, it will cost you everything and give you everything at the same time. You ready to run these plays? Then let's get it. The kingdom needs some sanctified savages who ain't scared to turn the world upside down like the original disciples did. Same God, new generation, same mission. Preach the gospel, period. Whether they like how we look, how we sound, or how we move. Just preach it. And watch what God does when redeemed rebels start running the play. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. I want you to feel the chaos. Phones blowing up, kids screaming, boss texting out Saturday, bills overdue, marriage hanging by a thread. Doctor left a voicemail you haven't listened to yet. Your best friend ghosted you. The news is talking about war and recession. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, a little voice inside you is whispering, I can't keep doing this. That's the storm. That's the moment most people lose themselves. That's the moment most people drown in the shallow end because they never learn how to be anchored when the waves come. I know that storm personally. I know that storm personally. I've been in the middle of the Atlantic with no land in sight. Not figuratively, literally. I was homeless, 16, Detroit winter, 0 degrees, sleeping in an abandoned house with no window. Snow drifting through the living room like it paid rent. I had a candle. A blanket with more holes than fabric, and a future that looked shorter than that candle. Every night, the wind howled through those walls like it was trying to take my soul with it. Every morning, I woke up wondering if this was the day I wouldn't wake up. That's a storm. And in that storm, I learned the difference between people who survive and people who thrive. The ones who thrive have an anchor that the storm can't see, can't touch, and can't move. An anchor is not a feeling. It's not motivation. Motivation is a wave. It comes and goes. An anchor is not discipline. Discipline is good, but even discipline can be shaken when you're tired enough. An anchor is not people. People will fail you, leave you, betray you, die on you. An anchor is purpose. Purpose that comes from the one who spoke galaxies into existence and still knows every hair on your head. Purpose that says, I was born for this storm, not in spite of it. Let me take you deeper. When I finally got off the streets and started chasing this dream, the storms didn't stop. They upgraded. Now I'm a college student, 21 years old, sitting in freshman classes with teenagers who still smell like high school hallways. I'm broke, car note 3 months behind, lights off, eating cereal with water because milk was a luxury. I'm getting laughed at by professors, side-eyed by classmates. Every single day the storm is screaming, I quit. Go get a factory job like everybody else. But I have found my anchor. Late at night when the whole dorm was asleep, I would open my Bible to Hebrews 6:19. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. And I would pray one prayer over and over. God, if you got me into this ocean, you got to keep me from drowning. And every time peace that made no sense would drop in my spirit, like a 2-ton weight holding a ship steady in a hurricane. That anchor had a name, purpose. God told me, Eric, I didn't save you from the streets to make you comfortable. I saved you to save others. I didn't give you a voice to whisper. I gave you a voice to wake up a generation. Once I locked into that purpose, the storm lost its power to move me. Tuition due, anchor hell. Car repossessed, anchor hell. Baby mama threatening to take my daughter, anchor hell. 12 years to get a 4-year degree, anchor hell. People laughing, talking, doubting, hating, anchor hell. Because when you know why you're here, the how gets handled by heaven. See, most people are trying to calm the storm. They're praying for no rain, no wind, no problems. That's cute, but that's not Bible. Jesus didn't calm every storm he faced. Sometimes he slept right through it to show the disciples who he was. Sometimes he let them row all night against the wind to teach them who they could become. And sometimes he looked at Peter and said, if you want to walk on this water, you got to get out the boat while the storm is still raging. The goal is not to live storm-free. The goal is to live storm-proof. There are 3 cores to a storm-proof anchor. And if you braid these 3 together, no wave formed against you will prosper. First core, identity. You got to know who you are when everything else is stripped away. The world will try to label you by your past, your pain, your bank account, your mistakes, your skin color, your zip code. But your identity is not assigned by man. It's announced by God. You are not a dropout. You are a deliverer in training. You are not broke. You are a breakthrough in progress. You are not a victim. You are a victor under construction. When you know who you are, you stop letting circumstances rename you. I don't care if the storm calls you failure. If God calls you favor, that settles it. Second core, vision. You need a picture of where you're going. That's bigger than where you are. Most people perish for lack of vision because they're focused on the wave in front of them instead of the shore beyond them. I never would have survived 12 years of college if I was focused on the sea I got on that first paper. I was focused on the stage I saw in my spirit, speaking to thousands, changing lives, proving that God can take a nobody and make him a nation shaker. Vision pulls you when motivation fails. Vision wakes you up when feelings want to keep you in bed. Vision turns pain into progress because you know every storm is moving you closer to the shore God already prepared. Third chord, community. No anchor works alone. Even the biggest ships have anchor chains made of links. You need people who will remind you of your purpose when you forget. Speak life when death is loud. Pray when you can't find words. And hold the rope when your hands are bleeding. I had a pastor who saw something in a freezing homeless kid that nobody else saw. I had a mentor who let me sleep on his couch when I had nowhere to go. I had study partners who wouldn't let me fail. I had a wife who believed in the call when the bank account was negative. Find your people, lock arms. And when one of y'all is sinking, the rest throw the rope. When you braid identity, vision, and community together with the unbreakable thread of God's word, you become unsinkable. The storm still comes. It just can't hit you. I need somebody right now who feels like the storm is winning. Maybe you lost your job this week. Maybe your child is on drugs. Maybe the marriage is over. Maybe the doctor said the word nobody wants to hear. Maybe depression has been your address for longer than you want to admit. I need you to hear me through the wind. This storm is not your destination. It's your transportation. God is using the very waves that scare you to push you where calm water never could. But you got to drop anchor. Drop it in your identity. I am who God says I am. Drop it in your vision. I will become what God showed me. Drop it in your community. I will not fight alone. Drop it in your worship. If God is for me, these waves are just water. I'm a living witness. From abandoned houses to arenas, from food stamps to Fortune 500, from suicidal to saved, from nobody knowing my name to millions knowing my voice. Every inch of that journey happened in a storm, but my anchor held. And if he held for a Detroit dropout with nothing but a prayer and a promise, he'll hold for you. So right now, wherever you are, I want you to plant your feet, lift your hands, and declare over the wind. This storm is big, but my God is bigger. This wave is high, but my purpose is higher. I may bend, but I will not break. I may cry, but I will not capsize. I am anchored in purpose, anchored in promise, anchored in the presence that calmed Galilee and still calms me. The storm is coming. Count on it, for so is assured. Stay anchored. You're not going under, you're going over. Watch God navigate. Let me take you all the way back. Back before the lights, before the private jets, before the New York Times list, before anybody ever called me Dr. Thor or E.T. or the hip-hop preacher. I want you to see me at my absolute lowest. I'm 16 years old, standing on Dexter Avenue in Detroit. Snow in my dreads, holes in my Timbs, pockets emptier than the churches on Monday morning. I had just got put out for the last time. Mama said, I love you, but I can't do this no more. No suitcase, no goodbye hug. Just a book bag with 2 t-shirts and a half-eaten bag of flaming hot Cheetos. That night, I slept in an abandoned house on Monterey Street where the windows were punched out and the rats were bolder than the roaches. I cried. I couldn't till I couldn't cry no more. Then I got mad. Mad at my mama, mad at my daddy who was never there. Mad at God, mad at the world. But mostly mad at the boy in the cracked mirror who had every excuse in the world and 0 results to show for it. That boy was a nobody, called that straight F average, kicked out of every school they sent me to, selling weed to juniors when I was a freshman, chasing girls who didn't even know my real name. Teachers wrote me off. Counselors said juvenile detention was my next address. Police already knew me by first name. And the crazy part, I was cool with it. I had accepted that nobody was my permanent identity. I wore it like a varsity jacket. Eric Thomas, class of never. I bragged about being nothing because it was easier than trying to be something and failing. But God has this funny way of ambushing you when you're comfortable being trash. One night freezing, stomach growling so loud the rats got scared, I found an old Bible somebody had left in that abandoned house. I wasn't looking for Jesus. I was looking for paper to roll a blunt. But I opened it anyway, and the page fell to Luke 15, the story of the prodigal son. I read how that boy wasted everything, ended up eating with pigs, hit rock bottom, and still had the nerve to go home. And when he did, his daddy didn't curse him out. He ran to him, hugged him, put a ring on his finger, shoes on his feet, and threw a party like he never left. I closed that book and said out loud, God, if you can do that for him, can you do it for me? And something shifted in the atmosphere. I felt a warmth in that freezing cold house that didn't make natural sense. That was the first time I realized a nobody wasn't my final destination. It was my origin story. I wish I could tell you I got saved that night and everything turned around. Nah, it took years. I still slept in abandoned houses. I still ate out of trash cans behind Coney Islands. I still got high to forget I was hungry. But now there was a tiny flicker inside me that refused to die. Every time life kicked me, that flicker said, oh, this ain't the end. Every time somebody laughed and said, you ain't never gonna be nothing, that flicker answered back, watch me. I started small, embarrassingly small. I went and got my jet at 19. Took the test 3 times before I passed. Then I enrolled in a community college nobody ever heard of. First day on campus, I'm 21, riding the bus with teenagers who still had curfews. I sat in the back of every class because I was scared to be seen. I worked night security at a hospital, slept in my car between shifts, showered in the gym locker room. Professors thought I was slow because I asked too many questions. Nah, I was hungry. Classmates laughed because I took notes like my life depended on it. It did. Took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree. 12 years of people graduating, moving on, getting married, having kids, buying houses while I was still grinding the same dream. 12 years of financial aid denials, car repossession, lights getting cut off, ramen noodle diets, crying in bathroom stalls because I was tired. But every time I wanted to quit, I heard that same whisper from the abandoned house. You came from nothing. You afraid of hard? People love to romanticize the comeback, but they don't show you the lonely nights. They don't show you eating cereal with water because milk costs too much. They don't show you walking to class in the snow because the bus money went to books. They don't show you praying in a 1992 Buick Century with no heat, asking God to stretch $2 into a week. They don't show you getting cussed out by a professor in front of the whole class and going back the next day like it never happened. That's the part nobody claps for. That's the part that turns a nobody into a nightmare for the devil. But something happens when you refuse to stay nobody. The same people who laugh start watching. The same doors that slam start cracking open. The same God who met you in the pig pen starts promoting you in public. I went from sleeping in abandoned houses to speaking in arenas, from food stamps to Fortune 500 keynotes, from a dropout to a doctorate, from nobody knowing my name to millions screaming it. And every milestone, every degree, every check, every sold out event, I look up and say, this one's for the kid in the abandoned house who thought nobody loved him. I need somebody reading this right now who feels like a nobody. Maybe you're 40 and still living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're 25 and already got 2 babies by 2 different people who ain't around. Maybe you're 15 and the streets already got their hooks in you. Maybe you're 50 and the dream you had at 20 is on life support. I need you to hear me through every voice that told you you'll never be nothing. Your past is not your prophecy. Your pain is not your prison. Your zip code is not your zenith. You are one decision away from a totally different destiny. The world needs your nobody story. They need to see what happens when a person refuses to stay buried. They need to see what happens when you take the mud they threw on you and build a mansion with it. They need to see what happens when you turn your mess into a message so loud hell files a noise complaint. I'm not standing here because I was special. I'm standing here because I got sick and tired of being nobody and decided to become God and somebody. So here's your assignment. Tonight, I want you to write down every label the world ever put on you. Dropout, failure, baby mama, felon, broke, ugly, too dark, too loud, too whatever. Then I want you to write this underneath every single one. This was my start, my stop. Then tomorrow morning, when your feet hit the floor, I want you to declare war on nobody. Go get that jet. Go enroll in that class. Go start that business with the $20 in your account. Go to that meeting. Go to therapy. Go to the gym. Go reconcile that relationship. Go apologize. Go forgive. Go heal. Go do whatever you've been scared to do because you thought you were still nobody. Because the truth is, every hero in the Bible started as a nobody. Moses was a murderer with a speech impediment. David was a shepherd boy the family forgot to invite to the lineup. Rahab was a prostitute on the wrong side of the wall. Peter was a fisherman who cursed like a sailor. Mary was a teenage girl from a town that ain't even on most maps. But God looked at their nobody and saw his opportunity. He's looking at yours the same way right now. The world may have counted you out, but heaven just put you in. The grave clothes are coming off. The ring is going on your finger. The robe is going on your back. The party is about to start. All you gotta do is take the first step home. My homeless to hip-hop mogul wasn't a cute tagline. It was a blood covenant I made with God in an abandoned house that I would never again accept nobody as my name. And every day since, I've been cashing in on that promise. You can too. The same God who turned the Detroit nobody into a global voice is the same God who's about to do it for you. Just decide today that nobody is dead. And watch what God does with a resurrected dream. I want you to go back with me to the darkest room I've ever been in. Not the abandoned houses, those were cold, but this room was colder. This room had heat, a bed, a door that locked. But it was darker than any Detroit winter night. I was 24 years old, had just finished my bachelor's degree after 12 long years, had a beautiful little girl and a woman who loved me. But inside my head, I was dying. Success on the outside, suicide on the inside, suicide on the... I would sit on the edge of that bed at 3 a.m. with tears running down my face, arguing with voices that told me everybody would be better off if I wasn't here. The pain wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was heavy. It whispered, you still ain't enough. 12 years for a degree most people get in 4. You slow, you late, you faking. They gonna find out you still that homeless kid. Just end it. That was pain wearing a mask, pretending to be logic. I know pain, not the motivational speaker version people put on t-shirt. I'm talking about the kind that makes you question if God even sees you. The kind that makes breathing feel like a chore. The kind that convinces you your family would hurt less if you disappeared. I know betrayal pain. Best friend slept with my girl while I was grinding night shifts. I know father wound pain. Never met my biological dad. And the man who raised me walked out when I was 2. I know poverty pain. Eating cereal with water because milk was a luxury. I know rejection pain. Professors laughing, classmates clowning, financial aid denying. I know depression pain. Days I didn't get out of bed because the covers felt safer than the world. That pain tried to kill me. But instead, I killed it and turned its corpse into power. Pain is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Most people spend their whole lives running from pain, numbing pain, medicating pain, posting through pain, pretending pain, performing through pain, but never processing pain. And unprocessed pain becomes poison. It leaks into your relationships. You snap at people who didn't hurt you. It leaks into your parenting. You repeat cycles you swore you break. It leaks into your purpose. You self-sabotage the moment you get close to the dream. Pain you don't face will find a way to speak for you, and it never has anything good to say. But when you face it, when you walk straight into the fire instead of around it, something supernatural happens. Pain becomes your professor. It teaches you things comfort never could. Pain taught me empathy. I can sit with a millionaire crying or an inmate crying and feel both because pain is the universal language. Pain taught me resilience. Every time I thought I couldn't take another hit, I took another hit and kept staying. Pain taught me faith. When you've got nothing left but God, you find out God is enough. Pain taught me gratitude. I celebrate every breath now because I know what it feels like when breathing hurts. Pain taught me purpose. Every scar is now a syllabus I use to teach somebody else how to survive. Here's the process I use and still use to turn pain into power. It's not pretty, it's not quick, but it works every single time if you work it. Step 1, name it. You can't hear what you won't acknowledge. Stop calling it stress. A bad day, a PMS, I'm just tired. Call it what it is. I'm depressed, I'm grieving, I'm angry, I'm traumatized, I'm heartbroken, I'm ashamed. I had to send my car one day and say out loud, Eric, you are depressed and suicidal, and that's okay to admit. The moment I named it, it lost half its power. Demons hate exposure. Light is lethal to darkness. Step 2, feel it. Don't numb it. Don't scroll it away. Don't drink it quiet. Don't sex it silent. Set a timer if you have to. 20 minutes, 1 hour, and let yourself feel every ounce of it. Cry, the ugly cry. Scream in the pillow, punch the bag. Write the letter you'll never send. Your body keeps the score. If you don't let the pain out, it will act out. I used to think real men don't cry. Then I realized real men cry, so their kids don't have to carry the weight. Step 3, reframing. Ask the hard question, what is this pain trying to teach me? Betrayal taught me discernment. Rejection taught me resilience. Depression taught me warfare prayer. Poverty taught me provision. Every wound has a wisdom attached if you're willing to listen. Pain is a terrible thing to waste. Step 4, share it. Your story is somebody else's survival guide. I started speaking publicly about my depression and suicide attempts because I was tired of brothers dying in silence. The first time I told a room of 500 men I had wanted to kill myself, you could hear a pin drop. Then grown men started crying and lining up to hug me, saying, "Ha, I was the only one." Your pain shared becomes power multiplied. Shame dies in secrecy. It thrives in storytelling. Step 5, monetize it, not for money, for mission. Take everything pain taught you and build something that keeps somebody else from drowning. My pain birth, thank God, is Monday flight assessment, ETA University, my books, my speeches. Every platform I had came from refusing to let pain have the final word. Your pain is your PhD in whatever field you're called to. Stop waiting to feel qualified. Your scars are your credentials. I need somebody right now carrying pain you think disqualifies you. Maybe you were molested. Maybe you had the abortion. Maybe you did the prison time. Maybe you were the side chick. Maybe you were addicted. Maybe you were the abuser. Maybe you buried a child. Maybe you're the reason the marriage ended. I need you to hear me. Your pain does not disqualify you. It qualifies you. God never wastes a wound. He redeems every tear, every trauma, every terrible season. The very thing the enemy used to try to destroy you is the exact material God will use to deliver somebody else. Look at every giant in Scripture. Joseph's pain, pit, prison, forgotten, became Pharaoh's answer. David's pain, running from Saul, living in caves, became Israel's worship. Paul's pain, beatings, shipwrecks, thorn in the flesh, became half the New Testament. Jesus' pain, cross, forsaken, crucified, became the salvation of the world. If God can turn the worst Friday in history into Resurrection Sunday, imagine what he's about to do with your Friday. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. You get to choose whether pain ends with you broken or ends with you breakthrough. I chose breakthrough. Every time depression knocks down, I let it in, sit it down, and say, "What you got for me this time?" Because I know the greater the pain, the greater the power on the other side. So tonight, wherever you are, I want you to stop running. Turn around and face that thing that's been chasing you. Name it, feel it, reframe it, share it, monetize it, and watch God take the ashes of your greatest pain and build a bonfire that lights somebody else's path out of darkness. You are not your pain. You are the power that pain produced. And that power is about to change everything. Think about, let me take you to a place most people never want to visit. It's a hospital room in Detroit, 1998. I'm 28 years old, sitting next to my mama's bed while machines beep and tube run everywhere. Cancer had come in like a thief, taking everything but her fight. She's skin and bones, but her eyes still got fire. She grabs my hand with whatever strength she got left and says, "Eric, don't let this break you. Let it make you." 2 weeks later, she was gone. I buried my hero at 28, and the pain hit me so hard I couldn't breathe. I wanted to quit everything. School, work, life. But something in her last words wouldn't let me. That loss became the single greatest advantage I ever had. Because when you lose what you thought you couldn't live without, and you keep living, you learn real quick that adversity is just the advantage wearing a disguise. Most people see adversity and run, they see it and fold, they see it and play victim. They pray it away, post about it, complain about it, but they never press into it. And that's why they stay small. The great ones, we don't dodge adversity. We dissect it. We mine it for the gold buried inside. We understand that pressure is privilege. That resistance is revelation. That every attack is actually an assignment in disguise. I learned this the hard way. After mama died, I still had to finish my degree, still had bills, still had a little girl looking at me like a daddy. When is grandma coming back? And every day felt like walking through mud with weights on my ankles, but I made a decision. This pain is going to pay me. Every tear I cry is tuition. Every sleepless night is training. Every time I want to quit and I don't have building muscle nobody can see yet, but everybody will feel later. Adversity has 5 hidden advantages most people never cash in on. If you learn these, you'll start thanking God for every storm instead of begging him to stop it. Advantage 1, clarity. Comfort lies to you. Comfort tells you you're fine when you're dying slow. Adversity strips away the fake and forces you to face the real. When I was homeless, I knew exactly what I didn't want. When mama died, I knew exactly what mattered. When I was broke, working security, sleeping in my car, I knew exactly why I was in school. Adversity is a brutal but honest mirror. It shows you who you really are when the mask come off. Most people hate the reflection, so they run back to comfort. Winners study the reflection and make adjustments. Advantage 2, capacity. You never know how strong you are until strong is the only choice you got. I thought 12 years for a bachelor's was gonna kill me. It didn't stretch me. It showed me I could take hits that would have ended the old Eric and keep swinging. Every time adversity pushed me past my breaking point moved. That's how you go from surviving to dominating. You let adversity raise your ceiling. Most people cap themselves at the first sign of resistance. They say, oh, this is too hard and quit. But hard is where growth lives. Hard is where champions are forged. Advantage 3, character. Talent gets you noticed. Character keeps you in the room. Adversity is the ultimate character revealer. It shows who you are when nobody's clapping, when the money's funny, when the phone stops ringing, when the dream feels dead. I watched people who had everything on paper crumble when adversity showed up. I watched people who had nothing on paper stand tall when the world fell apart. Why? Because adversity had already built something in them that prosperity couldn't buy. Integrity, resilience, faith, humility, gratitude. Those things don't come from winning. They come from bleeding and still believing. Advantage 4, compassion. You can't comfort where you've never cried. You can't lead where you've never limped. The greatest leaders, healers, teachers, and comforters I know all have scars. Adversity gave them eyes to see pain in others and hands quick to help. I can sit with a 15-year-old kid who just lost his mom and not say a word. Just cry with him, but because I've been him. I can look a grown man in the eye who's contemplating suicide and say, I've stood on that ledge, bro. Keep living because I have. Adversity turned my pain into a PhD in empathy, and empathy is the currency of influence. Advantage 5, calling. Your greatest adversity is usually attached to your greatest assignment. The thing that tried to kill you is the thing God will use to call you. Moses' murder rap prepared him to lead killers out of Egypt. Joseph's prison prepared him to run one. David's cave seasons prepared him to write psalms that still comfort billions. My homelessness prepared me to speak to the hopeless. My 12-year degree prepared me to talk to the late bloomers. My depression prepared me to preach hope to the suicidal. Your adversity is not random. It's research and development for your destiny. I need somebody right now going through hell to lean in. Maybe you just got the diagnosis. Maybe the marriage is over. Maybe they laid you off. Maybe your child is addicted. Maybe the dream died. I need you to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Because the moment you shift from victim to student, adversity loses its power and becomes your professor. Here's how you flip it. 1, stop praying for removal and start praying for revelation. 2, start a gratitude journal in the middle of the mess. Write 3 things every day you're thankful for, even if it's just, I woke up. Gratitude in adversity is spiritual steroids. 3, surround yourself with people who've already beaten what you're facing. Winners attract winners. 4, document the lessons. Every night, write down what the day taught you. In 5 years, you'll have a book nobody else could write. 5, serve somebody worse off than you. Nothing shrinks your problems like helping someone carry theirs. I'm standing here, PhD, 7-figure business, speaking for presidents and NBA champions. Because I stopped treating adversity like an enemy and started treating it like an edge. Every attack became advancement. Every setback became setup. Every no became knowledge. Every tear became training. Same fire that melts butter, hard, and steel. Adversity is revealing what you're made of. Don't run from the furnace. Stand in it. Let it burn off everything that's not supposed to be there. When you come out, you won't just be surviving. You'll be shining. Your adversity is your advantage. Stop wasting it. Start working it. The world is waiting on the version of you that only pressure can produce. Stop picturing yourself on a boat in the middle of the Atlantic. Sun was shining when you left the dock. Music bumping. Everybody laughing. Drinks cold, future bright. And the sky turned black without warning. Winds start screaming at 90 miles an hour. Waves taller than houses crash over the bow. The engine dies. The radio goes silent. The GPS spins like it's drunk. Your crew is panicking, throwing up, praying, cursing, crying. The boat is taking on water faster than you can bail it out. And in that moment, you realize one undeniable truth. The ocean does not care about your plans, your feelings, your resume, or your follower count. The ocean is trying to kill you. And the only question that matters now is, do you know how to swim good when the boat is gone? I learned how to swim good the hard way. 16 years old, kicked out, no boat, no life jacket, just me in the streets. The boat was my mama's house. One day she said, I love you, but you gotta go. Storm hit, no warning. I was treading water in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, sleeping under bridges, stealing just to see tomorrow. Every wave was a new low. Friends turning into enemies, girls laughing when I asked for a place to stay, police treating me like I was born a suspect. I was drowning in real time, somewhere between the third and fourth winter with no heat. I made a decision. If I'm gonna drown, I'm drowning, moving forward. I started kicking. I started swinging. I started swing good. Swim good ain't pretty. Swim good ain't pretty. Swim good is ugly strokes when your arms feel like jelly. Swim good is swallowing ocean water and spitting it back out as fire. Swim good is looking death in the face and saying, not today. Swim good is refusing to let the current write the ending of your story. Life will sink your boat, count on it. The marriage will rock. The job will fire you. The diagnosis will come. The child will rebel. The money will dry up. The friend will betray you. The dream will flatline. And when it happens, most people do one of two things. They either freeze and drown, or they wait for a new boat that may never come. But there's a third option nobody talks about. Learn to swim good right where you are, with what you got. In the storm you didn't choose. I've had plenty of boats sink since then. Took 12 years to get a 4-year degree. Boats sank every semester. Financial aid denied, car repossessed, lights off, baby mama threatening, classmates graduating while I was still grinding. Every time the boat went down, I heard the same whisper, swim good, Eric. So I did. I swam with tears in my eyes. I swam with holes in my shoes. I swam when nobody was watching and nobody cared. I swam until Michigan State gave me a bachelor's, then a master's, then a PhD. I swam until abandoned houses turned into arena. I swam until food stamps turned into Fortune 500 checks. I swam until the same streets that tried to bury me started calling me for keynotes. Here's the playbook for swimming good when life tries to drown you. Rule 1, accept the water. Stop wasting energy screaming about how unfair the storm is. The storm doesn't care. Wishing you had a better boat won't keep you afloat. Accept that this is your ocean right now. The moment you stop fighting the fact that you're in deep water, you free up energy to start swimming. Rule 2, control what you can control. You can't calm the storm, but you can calm yourself. You can't make people stay, but you can stay committed. You can't stop the wave, but you can adjust your stroke. Focus on your breath, your effort, your attitude, your next move. Everything else is noise. Rule 3, kick the dead weight. When the boat sinks, people panic and try to hold on to stuff that will drag them under. Toxic relationships, old habits, excuses, blame, comfort. Let it go. If it's not helping you float, it's helping you sink. I had to cut off friends who wanted me to stay drowning with them. I had to let go of the version of me that settled. I had to release the need to be right and grab the need to be alive. Rule 4, swim angry, not scared. Fear paralyzes. Anger, when it ain't right, propels. Get mad that life thinks this wave is big enough to take you out. Get mad that the enemy thinks this storm is the end of your story. Get mad enough to kick harder than you ever kicked when things were easy. I swam angry for 12 years. In poverty, angry at every person who said I wouldn't make it. That anger became rocket fuel. Rule 5, find the current and ride it. Even in the worst storms, there's a flow. There's grace underneath the chaos. There's favor in the fight. There's a rhythm to the waves. If you stop flailing and stop flailing, prayer became my current. Scripture became my compass. Scripture became my compass. Faith became my flippers. Every time I line with God's flow, instead of fighting it, I move farther, faster with less effort. Rule 6, never swim alone. Sharks smell isolation. I found lifeline. A pastor who let me sleep on his porch. A mentor who saw something in a homeless kid. Classmates who became family. A wife who held me when I couldn't hold myself. When I got tired, they kicked for me. When they got tired, I kicked for them. Find your pod, lock arms, swim together. Rule 7, keep your eyes on the horizon, not the wave. The wave is temporary, the shore is permanent. If you stare at the wave, you panic. If you stare at the shore God promised, you persevere. I never focused on how big the semester was. I focused on the stage I saw in my spirit. I never focused on how broke I was today. I focused on the legacy I was building for my daughter tomorrow. I need somebody right now whose boat just sank. Maybe the divorce papers came this week. Maybe the pink slip hit. Maybe the addiction won again. Maybe the doctor said stage 4. Maybe the child you raised won't speak to you. From this day forward, the only person I'm in debt to is God and myself. And I started paying. Here's the playbook I use and still use to get out and stay out. It's not sexy. It's not fast, but it's freedom. Step 1, face the mess. Stop hiding the statements. Stop dodging the calls. Stop lying to yourself about how much you really owe. I printed every account, every balance, every interest rate. So I wrote it all on a huge poster board and hung it on my wall like a most wanted list. You can't fight an enemy you won't look at. Step 2, cut the bleeding. I canceled every subscription I wasn't using. I sold the car I couldn't afford and bought a hoopty with cash. I stopped eating out, stopped clubbing, stopped buying clothes, stopped trying to impress people who didn't pay my bills. I went cold turkey on lifestyle inflation. If it wasn't shelter, lights, food, or my daughter, it didn't get $1. Step 3, attack the debt like it stole something. I used the debt snowball, paid minimums on everything, then threw every extra dollar at the smallest balance first. When that one died, I rolled the payment into the next one. Watching balances hit zero gave me momentum when motivation was gone. I celebrated every single one like I won the Super Bowl. Step 4, increase the income brutally. I took every speaking gig, every security shift, every side job I could find. I started charging what I was worth instead of what I thought people would pay. I turned my pain into products, books, courses, coaching. I worked like a man who had seen the other side of broke and refused to go back. Step 5, build the buffer. The moment I paid off the last credit card, I didn't go celebrate with a new chain. I built an emergency fund. First $1,000, then 3 months, then 6 months of expenses. That buffer became my new peace. No more praying the car didn't break down. No more choosing between diapers and gas. Step 6, change the mindset forever. I stopped seeing money as something to spend and started seeing it as something to steward. I started tithing when I had nothing because I realized everything I had is borrowed from God anyway. I started investing when I barely had 2 nickels. I started thinking generationally instead of momentarily. People ask me all the time, how did you go from food stamps to financial freedom? It's simple. I got tired of being a slave. Tired of interest payments, raising somebody else's kids while mine wore hand-me-downs. Tired of the phone ringing and my stomach dropping. Tired of teaching my daughter that debt was normal. I decided that generational poverty would end in my bloodline, even if it killed me, and it almost did. There were nights I wanted to quit. Nights the ramen noodles tasted like failure. Nights I had to tell my wife, we can't go out, we're in war mode. Nights I had to preach to thousands while my own lights were on a payment plan. But every no I said to foolishness was a yes to freedom. Today, when I walk into a store, I don't look at price tags the same. When I bless somebody, I don't have to calculate if my account can take the hit. When my kids ask for something, I don't have to lie. When opportunity knocks, I don't have to ask the bank for permission. That's not flexing, that's freedom. And here's the part most people miss. Financial freedom isn't about the money. It's about the options. It's about the peace. It's about the power to say no to what violates your purpose and yes to what advances it. It's about breaking chains your grandparents wore so your children never have to feel them. I need somebody reading this who's drowning in debt right now to hear me. You are not your balance. You are not your credit score. You are not your past mistakes. You are one disciplined decision away from a totally different destiny. The same God who brought me from abandoned houses to abundant is the same God who's about to do it for you. Stop waiting for a windfall, a windfall. Stop waiting for forgiveness from people who don't pay your bills. Stop waiting for permission. Declare war on debt today. Face it, cut it, attack it, out-earn it, out-pray it, outwork it, outwork it. And when you make that last payment, when you burn that last statement, when you look in the mirror and realize you owe no one, you will cry tears you didn't know you had stored up. You owe you freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom, generational freedom, financial freedom. Pay the debt, break the chains, live the life you keep praying for. It's already paid for. You just gotta go collect it. I need you to come sit right here on the floor with me, back against the wall, lights off, just the sound of your own heartbeat and the echo of the worst day of your life. That day the phone call came. That day the marriage ended. That day the doctor said it's cancer. That day they carried your baby out in a body bag. That day you opened the bank account and saw negative triple digits. That day you stood over the grave. That day you sat in the courtroom and lost everything. That day you tried to take your own life and woke up anyway. I need you to go back there for a second, not to relive the pain, but to remember the exact moment you thought, this is it. I'm done. I'm broken beyond repair. Because that moment, that exact second when you were shattered into a million pieces is the moment God whispered, a good. Now I can finally build you into who I always saw. You are not the first person to be broken. You're just the next one who gets to decide what happens after the break. And the truth nobody tells you is this. Breaking is not the end, it's the entry point. Breaking is God's construction zone. Breaking is where the old Joe dies, so the real you can be born. Every champion you admire, every testimony you cry to, every comeback story that gives you chills, started right there in the rubble, staring at pieces and deciding whether to stay shattered or start rebuilding. I know the rubble intimately. I've laid in it, I've bled in it, I've cried until my eyes swell shut in it. 16 years old, kicked out, homeless, dropout. Nobody wanted me, nobody claimed me, nobody believed in me, not even me. That was broken. Mama dying while I was still trying to finish a degree. Watching cancer eat my hero alive while I was too broke to help. That was broken. 12 years to get a 4-year degree, watching everybody else graduate, get jobs, get married, while I was still grinding with no end in sight. That was broken. Depression so thick, I planned my own funeral. That was broken. Trail for people I would have died for. That was broken. And every single time the world said, stay down. Every single time the enemy said, every single time God said, watch me. Here's the blueprint I used every time life broke me. It still works. It will always work. And if you use it, you will not just survive the break. You will become unbreakable. Stage 1, let yourself be broken. Stop pretending you're okay when you're not. Stop posting I'm blessed when you're bleeding. Stop going to work smiling when you cried the whole drive there. Broken is not weakness. Pretending you're not broken is. I gave myself permission to fall apart. I screamed. I cursed. I laid on the floor and told God exactly how I felt. I stopped performing strength and started processing sorrow. And in that honesty, I found mercy. The Bible says a broken and contrite heart, He will not despise. God is closest when you are cracked wide open. Stage 2, pick up the pieces on purpose. You don't ignore the shards, you inventory them. Every broken piece has a story, and every story has a strength. The piece called a rejection taught you resilience. The piece called a poverty taught you provision. The piece called a betrayal taught you boundaries. The piece called a depression taught you deliverance. I took every piece of my brokenness and labeled it a teacher. I stopped seeing the pieces as proof I was damaged and started seeing them as proof I was delivered. Your scars are not shame. They are syllabus. Stage 3. Give the pieces to the master builder. You cannot rebuild self alone. Your hands shake too much. Your vision is too cloudy. You need the one who spoke galaxies into existence and still knows where every fragment of you belongs. I learned to pray a dangerous prayer. God, here are the pieces. I don't know what to do with them, but you do. Build something beautiful, something strong, something that helps somebody else never feel this alone. And every time I surrender the pieces, He started putting them together in ways I never could. Stage 4, reinforce the cracks with gold. In Japan, they have an art called kintsugi, where they repair broken pottery with gold, making the cracks the most beautiful part. That's what God does. He doesn't hide your cracks. He highlights them. He fills them with grace, with glory, with purpose. My homelessness is now the gold that runs through every speech. My 12-year degree is the gold that runs through every encouragement I give late bloomer. My depression is the gold that runs through every suicide prevention talk. Your cracks are about to become your crown. Stage 5, build higher than before. The old you was built on sand. People's opinions, temporary comfort, fragile ego, borrowed validation. The new you gets built on bedrock. Identity in Christ, purpose over pleasure, faith over fear, obedience over outcome. I stopped building a life that looked good and started building a life that could withstand good and bad. I stopped building to impress and started building to impact. And the crazy thing, when you build unbreakable, you attract unbreakable. Stage 6, help somebody else rebuild. The moment you start using your rebuilt life to hand bricks to somebody still in the rubble, the healing is sealed. I speak in prisons because I was once mentally in prison. I mentor fatherless boy because I know what it feels like to have no example. What tempo? I preach hope to the hopeless because I was once hopeless. Your rebuilt life is not just for you, it's for them. The people still sitting in the dark wondering if the pieces can ever fit again need to see you walking, talking, shining proof that yes, they can. I need somebody right now whose life is in pieces to hear me. You are not trash because you are broken. You are raw material in the hands of a master craftsman. The enemy broke you to bury you, but God allowed the break to birth you. That depression was a tomb, but Sunday is coming. That divorce was a death, but resurrection is on the way. That bankruptcy was a burial, but new want is coming. That diagnosis was a deadline, but God laughs at deadline. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not destroyed. You are being designed. You are not finished. You are being formed. I'm standing here, PhD husband, father, global voice, living proof that broken things become beautiful things when surrendered to the right hand. From abandoned houses to arenas, from food stamps to funding dreams, from suicidal to saved, from nobody to necessary, every piece of my brokenness is now part of my brilliance. Your turn. The pieces are on the floor. The builder is in the room. The gold is ready. The story is not over. Get up. Pick up one piece today. Hand it to him. And watch what he builds when a broken human says yes to an unbreakable God. You are not broken beyond repair. You are broken open for revival. And the world is waiting on the unbreakable version of you. Let's build. I want you to walk with me back to a night nobody filmed, nobody posted, nobody clapped for. It's 2009. I'm 39 years old. Finally got the PhD. Finally got a decent car. Finally got a little change in my pocket. Finally got people call me Dr. Thomas. On paper, I had arrived. But inside, I was still that 16-year-old kid freezing in an abandoned house, waiting for the next shoe to drop. I had spent so long climbing out of the hole that I forgot what to do when I reached the top of the mountain. Success felt foreign. Peace felt fake. Joy felt borrowed. I was winning, but I wasn't whole. I had rebuilt the outside, but the inside was still under construction. That's when God sat me down and said, son, you survived the break, but now you got to learn how to live unbreakable. Unbreakable is not never getting hit again. Storms still come. Unbreakable is getting hit, and the hit no longer having the final say. Unbreakable is when the crack is sealed. The wound is wisdom, the scar is strength, and the enemy has to find a new target because the old entry points are boarded up with grace. I've been broken so many times I lost count, but I've also been rebuilt so many times I stopped fearing to break. Every time life swung, I swung back harder, not with fists, but with faith. And over the years, I developed a set of unbreakable laws, non-negotiable, non-seasonal, lifetime principle that turned a homeless dropout into a fortress. These are the laws I live by, preach by, and will die by. Law 1, identity is the foundation. If you don't know who you are when the wind blows, you'll let the wind name you. The enemy's first move is always to make you forget whose you are. He did it to Jesus in the wilderness. If you are the Son of God, Jesus shut it down with, "I is written." I had to do the same. Every time depression whispered, "You're still that homeless kid," I answered, "It's written. I am a child of the King, fearfully and wonderfully made, more than a conqueror. Identity is not earned." Speak until your feelings catch up. Law 2, pain is the tuition, never the punishment. Every tear you've cried has been depositing something into your spirit account. Interest is compounding. One day you'll withdraw wisdom nobody can teach you, empathy nobody can fake, strength nobody can copy. I stopped asking God to remove the pain and started asking him to reveal the profit. And he always does. Law 3, boundaries are love and work clothes. I used to think saying no was mean. Then I realized saying yes when I should have said no was killing me. Unbreakable people protect their peace like it's Fort Knox. I cut off energy vampires, gossip, comparison, dead drama, anything that tried to rent space in my spirit without paying with peace. Love people enough to help them, but love yourself enough to protect your oil. Law 4, forgiveness is not reconciliation. It is release. I forgave my father who was never there. I forgave friends who betrayed me. I forgave the system that tried to bury me. Not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Unforgiveness is drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. I stopped giving dead people power over my living days. Law 5, faith is the muscle, fear is the fat. You don't get stronger faith by avoiding storms. You get it by going through them and watching God show up every time. I have a highlight reel in my spirit of every time God came through when it made no sense. Red Sea moments, Raven moments, upper room moments. I replay those when fear tries to bench press my future. Law 6, purpose is the compass. Feelings are the weather. Feelings change every 5 minutes. Purpose does not. I stopped letting a bad day dictate a bad life. I wake up and ask, what does the assignment require today? Not how do I feel today? Unbreakable people move when they don't feel like it. Speak when their voice shakes. Give when their hands are empty. Because the mission is bigger than the moment. Law 7, community is the rebar. Concrete alone cracks. Steel inside makes it unbreakable. I have a circle that sharpens me, checks me, prays for me, celebrates me, corrects me. Iron sharpens iron. If your circle is soft, you will stay soft. I surround myself with people who have been through fire and came out shining. Law 8, worship is the well. When everything else fails, worship holds. In the abandoned house, worship kept me alive. In the hospital room with mama, worship kept me standing. In the depression nights, worship pulled me out. Worship reminds you the battle is not yours, the story is not over, and the builder is still working. Law 9, rest is not weakness, it is weaponized recovery. I used to think rest was lazy. Then I learned Jesus slept in the storm, David napped before battles, Elijah ate and slept under the broom tree before his greatest comeback. Unbreakable people know when to war and when to withdraw. When to withdraw. Sabbath is not a suggestion. Law 10, legacy is the legacy. I stopped living for lights and started living for lineage. Every decision gets run through the filter. Will this help or hurt the people coming after me? My kids, my mentees, the next generation watching. Unbreakable people build to outlast themselves. I was 50 plus now and life still swings. Mops for eat, business dips, people leave, health scares, critics talk, haters hate. But the swing doesn't move me like it used to. I've been broken so thoroughly that the cracks are now filled with gold, and gold doesn't bend. I've been rebuilt so intentionally that the old entry points are sealed with scripture, sealed with worship, sealed with scars that taught me how to fight. I need somebody right now who feels cracked, chipped, shattered, or barely holding together. You are not weak. You are in process. You are not failing. You are forging. The fact that you're still here after everything that tried to take you out is proof that unbreakable is already in your DNA. The enemy keeps swinging because he sees what's coming, a version of you that hell regrets ever touching. You are not a victim of your breaking. You are a victor in your rebuilding. The pieces are coming together. The gold is being poured. The fortress is rising. And when this season is over, you will not just be unbroken. You will be unbreakable. Stand up, dust off, lift your head. The builder is not done, and neither are you. Let's go walk with me back to a moment nobody saw. It's 2005. I'm 35 years old, still grinding through year 9 of what was supposed to be a 4-year degree. I'm working night security at a hospital, sleeping in my car between shifts, eating $1 menus like they're gourmet. I've got a 3-year-old daughter at home who thinks daddy works at night because he's Batman. I'm broke, exhausted, embarrassed, and one failed midterm away from dropping out for good. I'm sitting in Michigan State University library at 2 a.m., tears hitting the textbook because I can't keep my eyes open and I can't quit eating. That night I looked up at the ceiling, said 3 words that changed everything. I owe me, not I owe the school. Not I owe my daughter, not I owe society. I owe me, I owe that 16-year-old kid who got kicked out and swore he'd never be nothing. I owe the version of me who used to sleep in abandoned houses and promised one day he'd own the deed to his own home. I owed the man God showed me in dreams when I had nothing but nightmares. I owed myself the degree, the peace, the legacy, the life I kept praying for, but wasn't willing to bleed for. That night, I made a blood covenant with myself. No more excuses, no more half-stepping, no more living beneath my privilege. From this moment forward, I owe me everything. Most people live in default mode. They owe everybody else, the job, the kids, the spouse, the followers, the culture, the past. They give their best energy to people who don't even know their middle name. They stay in dead-end situations because leaving would disappoint somebody who isn't paying their bills. They silence their dreams because speaking them would make somebody uncomfortable. They settle for survival because thriving would require them to confront the fact that they've been robbing themselves for years. And the interest on that robbery is a life that feels like somebody else's. I was the chief thief. For years, I stole from my future to pay for my present comfort. I stole sleep instead of studying. I stole parties instead of preparation. I stole pride instead of progress. I stole a later instead of a now. Every time I hit snooze, I robbed tomorrow's Eric. Every time I chose Netflix over the book, I robbed tomorrow's Eric. Every time I spent money I didn't have to impress people I didn't like, I robbed tomorrow's Eric. And tomorrow's Eric was broke, tired, and pissed off. Then I declared bankruptcy on the old me. I filed chapter impact with interest. Here's exactly how I did it, and how you can too. First, I got brutally honest. I sat down with a legal pad and wrote every area where I was in debt to myself. Spiritually, physically, financially, relationally, mentally, professionally. I wrote down the degree I kept delaying, the body I kept abusing, the business I kept dreaming about but never building, the prayers I kept postponing, the apologies I owed myself for quitting, the boundaries I never set. I looked at that list and felt the weight of every unpaid promise. Then I turned the page and wrote one sentence at the top. The debt is due today. Second, I made the first payment. Action. Not motivation, not a new planner, not a vision board. Action. I signed up for the classes I've been scared to take. I threw out the junk food and laced up the shoes. I opened the business account with the $47 I had left after bills. I got on my knees and prayed like a man who finally realized salvation isn't just for heaven, it's for here. I started paying with sweat, with no's, with early mornings, with therapy sessions, with forgiveness I didn't want to give, with books instead of bars, with water instead of Hennessy. Every action was a payment on the debt I owed me. Third, I stopped co-signing for everybody else's drama. I stopped lending my peace to people who wouldn't lend me theirs. I stopped giving my time to relationships that took but never gave back. I stopped saying yes when my spirit screamed no. Every no of them was a yes to me. Every boundary was a brick in the life I was building for the man I promised I'd become. Fourth, I celebrated every payment like I won the lottery. When I passed the class after failing it twice, celebration. When I paid off one credit card, celebration. When I ran a mile without stopping, celebration. When I went 30 days without arguing with my wife, celebration. Small wins compound into big comebacks. You have to cheer for yourself because the world won't always do it. Fifth, I kept the receipts. I documented everything. Every degree milestone, every pound lost, every dollar saved, every relationship healed, every promise kept. I have journals full of I owe me and I paid. Those receipts are my armor on the days doubt tries to sneak back in. Today, when I look in the mirror, I don't see the homeless kid anymore. I see a man who paid what he owed himself. PhD paid in full, marriage paid in full, health paid in full, peace paid in full, legacy in progress, but the payments are on time. And the interest is showing up as private jets, global stages, kids who don't know what food stamps feel like, and a wife who never has to wonder if the rent is coming. I need somebody right now who's been robbing themselves blind to stop today. Look at your life and ask the question I asked in that library at 2 a.m. How much do I owe me? Write it down. Feel the weight. Then make the first payment. One push-up, one page, one prayer, one O that protects your yes, one honest conversation with yourself in the mirror. Because here's the truth. Nobody is coming to pay your debt for you. Not your parents, not your partner, not your pastor, not the government, not God in the form of a miracle that lets you bypass the process. God already paid for your salvation. Now you gotta pay for your elevation. And the currency is obedience, discipline, courage, and consistency. You owe you the degree you quit. You owe you the body you neglected. You owe you the business you keep on start. You owe you the healing you keep postponing. You owe you the boundaries you keep letting people cross. You owe you the prayers you keep putting off till tomorrow. Calls, meetings, writing, coaching, creating, serving, selling, speaking, whatever the assignment requires. I do it with everything I've got until the mission is complete. Evenings are locked. No food after 8 p.m. No phone after 9 p.m. Lights out by 10. 15th tomorrow starts tonight. People see the stage and think that's the grind. Nah, the stage is the harvest. The grind is the 4 a.m. nobody sees. The grind is studying when your eyes burn. The grind is making a call after the 100. Nope, the grind is meal prepping when everybody else is at the drive-thru. The grind is praying when you don't see the answer yet. The grind is forgiving when they don't deserve it. The grind is showing up when your feelings file for divorce. Rise and grind is why I finished a 12-year degree. Rise and grind is why I paid off every debt. Rise and grind is why my marriage is strong after 20 plus years. Rise and grind is why my kids don't know struggle like I did. Rise and grind is why depression couldn't keep me and suicide couldn't take me. Rise and grind is also why most people never make it. They want the glory, but not the grind. They want the harvest, but not the heat. They want to be great in front of people, but average in private. And every time they choose comfort over commitment, they postpone their destiny another day. I need somebody reading this who's been hitting snooze on their life to make a decision right now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not January 1st. Right now, the same spirit that got me out of abandoned houses is available to you. The same God who turned water into wine can turn your wilderness into a winery, but he's waiting on you to rise. Your alarm is about to go off. The old you wants to sleep, the new you wants to soar. One of them is going to win tomorrow morning. Choose. And when you choose, don't just rise, grind. Grind like your family's future depends on it. Grind like your younger self is watching. Grind like the version of you on the other side of obedience is screaming, don't stop now. Because one day you'll wake up and the degree will be done. The debt will be gone. The body will be strong. The business will be booming. The marriage will be thriving. The peace will be permanent. And you'll look back at this moment and thank God you didn't hit snooze one more time. Rise and grind isn't a catchphrase. It's a commandment for anybody who refuses to die average. The sun is coming up. The grind is calling. Answer it. Let's go.